Hey everyone, it's me, Tamara Brown. Who am I? I am an author, blogger, website designer, as well as a publishing consultant. And today I am talking about broke, lonely, angry, and horny. But the major topic is dealing with loneliness. And so often we don't talk about lonely. As a matter of fact, it has been taught to us that when we mention lonely, especially from a religious aspect, we're told that we're not lonely, but we're lonely. We're not lonely, but we're alone, because God is always with us, and I kind of agree. And if you notice, I said I kind of agree. And so we're going to talk about that, and I'm kind of challenge people today a little bit about what I've learned. And one of the things that I've learned is that even though we are alone, that if we don't deal with loneliness, if we don't deal with what brings us to loneliness, we will, it takes us into depression. It takes us into a place of understanding friendships and relationships and how we deal with people and how we deal with ourselves. And so, one of the things about broke, lonely, angry, and horny is a lesson that I learned. And that all began when I started writing this book, which is a fictional book. But Blood Diaries is really about a character named Zenobia, who is dealing with the fact that on the day that she decided to sleep home, from taking care of her, taking a break and sleeping at home, that she discovers that her husband is having an affair with her best friend, who is a guy, Charles. She's dealing with the fact that she's dealing with her children being bad. She's dealing with a daughter who has leukemia, as well as sons that are kind of, becoming out of control. And on top of that, her mother, which is the thing that she carries as guilt, is her mother returns, who's a former drug addict and HIV positive. And so, with her being HIV positive, her mother being HIV positive, Zenobia takes on the guilt of believing that she gave her mother HIV because she would stick up. Her mother taught her how to stick heroin into her arms. And so I thought about my own personal life, and why did I write this book? Is because in 2014, I would tell people, well, longer than 2014, but when my son was first diagnosed, someone would say, "How are you doing?" And I would say, "I'm blah." And they'd be like, "What's blah?" I'd be like, "Broke, lonely, angry, and horny." Because at the time, I was going through all of those emotions. I still am in my own way. And I just wanted to tackle lonely. And so yesterday, I was taking care of my grandson. And my grandson, Rainier, is 4 years old. And whenever I am with Rainier has school time with me, whether it's 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night. Rainier is always learning and doing ABC Mouse. And he said, "Nana, what's your big success? What is it that you want?" And I thought, this is a 4-year-old boy asking me what I want. And for the first time, I said, I want to be at peace. And I don't want to feel lonely, because even though I'm in a house full of teenagers and my grandson, who is my pride and joy, sometimes that loneliness creeps in, because even though I'm around people on a regular basis, I don't always think that people even understand me, right? Because I'm a hard worker. I'm just gonna put it out there. I work hard, but I'm not the person that people normally hang out with, because there's a lot of things going on. I'm weird. I don't dress like everybody else. Some of the topics and subjects that I talk about are not appealing. I'm not the person that you can go shopping with. I'm the person that you go read a book with, right? Or you're gonna ask to help with a project or understand something. And so, after watching my grandson, someone had called me, and they were a potential client. And they just started telling me all the stuff that they had heard about me. And it was like, people were just, I'm just going to tell you. And I knew that this person was gossipy, so I didn't take them on as a client. But it shattered me for a minute, because I knew officially what people think of you. Once you discover what someone thinks of you, what people in a general group that you work for, or you try to, or whatever the case may be, it makes you think differently. It actually puts you in a different place and puts you into a corner of saying, let me be lonely. And I, kind of put that quote that sometimes I don't choose loneliness. And it's not my solitude. I like it because I deal with a lot of noise and a lot of distractions. But sometimes it's more of protection. I don't want to be disappointed again more. So in order for me to deal with disappointment, and I say that to a lot of people, is I tell someone straight off the bat that disappointment is my way. That in order for me to deal with disappointment, that I become more determined. I become more hardworking. I push myself in a place where, I don't sleep for days because now I got to make sure my book is perfect. Now I got to, do a blog, and I got to do these things because I want people to see the greatness inside of me and not the negative stuff that they have established, because regardless of whatever, I'm still going to shine. And that's just my way of dealing with that. And that's been from a little girl, that I've dealt with certain things in a different way than other people have. Like, I wouldn't get mad, I would get better. So let me say that again. I would not get mad. I would be a little girl and somebody would, and I dealt with that from all my life. I didn't dress nice and have nice clothes and have all the things that people have. So they'd be like, your mother's a crackhead. And I'd be like, well, I'm going to go on an honor roll. And that was just for me. And sometimes we deal with loneliness in a different way. A lot of people turn to God. And I think that for me, I always tell people, and I'm honest about it, is that God and I have beef, right? We have beef. And, hopefully you'll forgive me for that. But I got issues because I look at things differently. And that's because I'm such a big reader. So it's always a question mark. Right, I'm ready to question God, which you're not supposed to. So I have to pull myself back and say, you can't question God. You just have to have faith, and you have to deal with the road that is you have to go on that road and just walk it. And so I think I've practiced it so well that sometimes when I look back, I'm the only one on that road. And I don't know if anyone has ever experienced that or even knows how it feels to be on a road that you walking in and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to look behind, but when you look back, there's absolutely no one there. And so how do you stand up to that? How do you deal with loneliness when you've gone so far on that yellow brick road of success, that yellow brick road of accomplishments? And I'm not successful like other people where they're getting accolades and awards, but I'm successful in a sense of that regardless of whatever goes on in my life, no matter what, my bad kids, and see, I'm very transparent. Whether my children are bad, whether things are falling apart, Tamara's gonna get up and do what she got to do, and Tamara's gonna shine in her own light. So in the darkest of all days, in darkest of all nights, there's gonna be a light, and I'm gonna shine. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna turn my disappointments into determination. It's just who I am. I'm just never gonna be any different from that. But when it comes to loneliness, which now leads to how do you deal with hurt? Sometimes when people are hurt, whether it's hurt by relationships, friendships, or even being connected to people, I am quick to disconnect. You don't have to ask me to disconnect. You don't have to send me a card. You don't have to say, hey, I don't want to mess with you anymore. And I'm going to share an experience of why I learned how to disconnect. I learned to disconnect because I'll never forget this. My cousin Andre and I will walk to school together every day. From the time, I think it was from September to December. And I'll never forget this. My cousin, all of a sudden, after the Christmas break, everybody had gotten toys and I didn't. Because that's just the way it went. We was the poor family. And I remember him every day after that. And it was snowing. And my sneakers were busted open. And he would run from me like on a daily basis. And I didn't understand it. And he was like, it's because I don't ever want to be a bum like you. and it's a disease, and somebody had told him that. And so he would run every day. So I stopped, and I remember coming home, and my Uncle Khaled had just came home from the hospital. He said, don't ever give people the permission to disconnect from you. You disconnect from them first. He said, it'll be a lonely journey. It'll be a painful journey, but you disconnect first. And I did, and it sucked. And I'm going to tell you, that day, the next day, I didn't chase after my cousin. I went out the door at around 7:30, and he would go to school at 8, and I would be gone. I would go to school by myself, and I became comfortable in that loneliness, because you don't give people permission to talk about you. And if they're going to talk, I mean, you can't change it, but it does hurt your feelings. It does hurt you, and then you have to build up. So I had to learn that this is business, right? This is business. This is life. But from the time that I was like, I think about 10, because the following year I went back to Harlem with my mom. But I promise you, from that day, and I remember him chasing after me, and I was the one that was running, because my uncle put in my head that you don't ever let someone. So do we disconnect from people? Because I know for me, and speaking for myself, I will disconnect from you before you disconnect from me. I will fire me from a relationship, and it's crazy, because I'm dealing with blah, dealing with broke, dealing with lonely, dealing with angry, and dealing with horny. My ex called me, well, technically tried to call me and let me know, and there was like this phone system for inmate incarcerated, and I refused. And usually I would pick up the phone, but I have become comfortable with disconnecting from people. And you know, when we're dealing with our disappointments and when we're dealing with loneliness, it really is about, for me, and I'm not an expert in this, but I'm an expert in this. We become disconnected because we're not going to let someone else stop all over us again. We're not going to let people hurt us. So we find a way. Some people find a way by moving away. I mean, my mother, and I believe this to be true, is that my mother would get into bad relationships, and if that house reminded her of relationships, Sandra packing up her bag. It'd be 3:00 in the morning. Said, like, get your garbage bag. To the point where we got so comfortable. My brother and I always talk about it. We would have a garbage bag always with us, and to this day, it's still a practice for me. You know, I kid you not, I have a garbage bag under my bed, just in case I would have to leave or disconnect from something or somebody. And I think that we have to find our disconnection. Is it the person or is it you? Are you giving of yourself so much that you lose yourself? Are you not always the good friend? Because sometimes we think that we are a good friend and we're just not. Are we enablers? Are we allowing people to take advantage of us and to the point where we're so used and drained that when it hits you, that this person that you've stood on a high for is kicking you down from the pedestal? Do you just run? Or do you deal with it and say, you know what? I'm just never going to allow you to do that again. There's a song by Sam Cooke, and not Sam Cooke, but Sam Smith. It's called Too Good at Goodbyes. It's like one of my favorite songs, right? It's a song that is on repeat every day because I am so good at saying goodbye to people. I will disconnect in a heartbeat. You don't have to even give me a reason why. I just find out you talk about me. And you know, it is a part of life, right? And there is truth and criticism. But if you're in a good relationship with people, so you think, and you find out that they are bashing you behind your back, or they're telling you one story and saying something different, I'm definitely going to disconnect. You ain't got to call me, you ain't got to write me, you ain't got to email. I'm going to disconnect. And I'm the person that's business professional, and I know that this is business, but if I think at a personal level, I will disconnect. Because I think that sometimes we get into this place of becoming comfortable with allowing people to say what they want about you. We could become comfortable in letting people be a punching bag. And like that moment of being 10 years old and my cousin running from me, I was chasing after him for like 3 weeks, and I was like coming home in tears, like, what did I do wrong? And my Aunt Cookie was calling up my Aunt Barbara, and my Aunt Barbara, she wanted beating him for it. And then my uncle said, never ever force somebody to connect with you. If people only want to deal with you when they feel like it, then you need to run to. My uncle thing was F their feelings. Fuck their feelings. I mean, straight up F-U-C-K their feelings. Your feelings don't matter. Stop getting in your feelings, because I'm going to tell you, in this life, nobody cares about your feelings. People care about what they feel like and what they want and what they want right now. And it, no matter how long I try to forget that lesson, he's 100% right. God rest his soul. That he would, I mean, and my uncle to me was one of the most amazing persons, besides my Aunt Cookie, God rest her soul, and my cousin Angie. He was the person that stood above a lot of things that I don't think I could do. He dealt with HIV while he, living in a room, having to share it with my uncle, because financially he didn't have it, and my Aunt Cookie was a hustler. She wasn't going to be broke, okay? She knew how to survive. She knew how to make extra income, so she wasn't, just really destitute. So, and then having to deal with my uncle alcoholism, but him being an alcoholic too, and being a recovering alcoholic, and dealing with the alcoholic, and trying to fight the urge, and go to college, and I mean everything that was against him. Even loneliness was against him. And I used to say, how do you just stay strong? And he said, you let that be your fuel. And I guess that's my message for people today, that people are going to tear you down, or are going to say things, and you're going to realize that you don't fit in. You might be the square peg trying to fit into a circle, but sometimes it's just not it. Take care of what is important to you, and that is who you are. If you're a writer, if you're a blogger, if you're a website designer, you have to respect everything that is you. Sometimes in the writer world, you're going to have to deal with the fact that it's not easy, right? It is painful as hell. And I'm going to say that it's painful as hell to have to deal with, who am I actually? Who am I, and why am I accepting these bad relationships? I'm hoping you guys can hear me. Why am I accepting these bad relationships? Am I accepting these bad relationships because, hey, I just want to be accepted? Yes, those 2 days, and I mean, my exes called me every day, and that number just pops up, and I refuse to answer it. It's a new system, because they told me it's a new system. They call you with a pre-recorded message, and and I just will not answer, because in this part of my life, I'm tired of going in circles, and I'm disconnecting, and it's safe. It's safe to disconnect from people. It's safe for me. And I'm not telling you that my loneliness is right, but even in my character, that I'm writing about in Blog Diaries, which will be out April 2nd, she disconnects from people. She kind of says, you know what, I can't allow people to hurt me. I'm fine. I'm all right. I'm good. You know what? You don't like what I'm doing, then stay away from me. Because sometimes it's safer, right? It's safer to stay away. But I think in your loneliness, you have to confront the things that you need to change. So I've had so many friends and family members say, I just can't deal with females. I kid you not. I have friends that will tell you in a heartbeat, I can't deal with females. I don't deal with females. I don't chill with females. because they shady this and that, and then I'm like, but you're a female. Right, in my head, because I'm just sarcastic like that. But I don't always say what I feel. If people knew how lethal, my mother is got the most lethal tongue in America, and I bite my tongue a lot, and you can read it in my book. Working with another client, he says, you come up with the wittiest lines, and I told him that's because I don't get permission to say exactly what I want to say. If I said the things that are all in my head, I mean, literally, people talk about me, but there's things I be saying in my head that I hold back because I've learned to put me in timeout. I know how to use my inside voice so well, and I also learned to accept people. Like, I'm not judgmental. I don't. That's what you want to do. That's what floats your boat. Hey, let it float. In that process of being who I am and growing into Tamara, I have to disconnect, so I got to talk about this, because if I don't, I'll never rest, right? Support, guys, and so I'm an author, a blogger, and all those things, and so I work with clients who do the same thing, and it's actually what I teach people to do. And sometimes I'll put up a book post, or I'll put up something, and not a soul share it, and so then it brings me back. I mean, a few people will, but sometimes I'll think, okay, so what do I need to do to improve my work, right? Because my pictures are pretty, and then I realized, asking a mentor, I said, is it me? And he was like, I don't even work. My brother even said it. I don't even, I've broken up with people because people don't support me. It's the issue that it's what also brings me into loneliness, because then I'm trying to figure out, what am I doing wrong? Am I not, am I spelling work, because I mess up. I have grammar issues. And so I go back and I'm like, well, they shared other people. Is it just me? And then then somebody said this. My mentor said, because sometimes people don't share your stuff because they said something else about you behind your back. And so they can't publicly celebrate you because what they said behind your back. And I was like, wow. And so it makes you question, what did they say behind my back? And I don't know if it even, and a lot of people say it doesn't matter, but it does. For me. Because it goes back to being that 10-year-old little girl chasing after my cousin. And it goes back to all those years of making friendships and trying to connect to people, that you realize how much it does hurt. And it does bother you. Right? That you're still that little girl that people smile and then they're running from you. And you're sitting there like, but I didn't even do nothing to them. Because in this case, I didn't do anything to my cousin. And years later, he did apologize. He said, I didn't understand. I was this kid who, and I'm always around people who have more than me, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely, right? Because I feel like in that position, that's where I'm supposed to be. But you have to deal with your loneliness, and you have to disconnect and stop allowing people to run from you and you run from them. Okay, then you won't get that permission. Then I don't fit in your circle. I'm that square that doesn't fit in your circle, and let me stay to myself. And loneliness is what a lot of women are dealing with. They don't want to admit it, and at least I'm woman enough to admit that's okay. Let me just be cool. Loneliness is not cool, right? Because I'm in a room full of people sometimes and invisible. Sometimes I give ideas beyond sometimes, and I'm not perfect, right? But sometimes I could be 100% right, and nobody will listen to me. And then I'll look at them and say, then why did you ask my advice, right? Happens all the time. It's not because I want to see people fail. I've told my children, this is certain things for me are not the time. I want to live in California. I hate being cold. I hate Buffalo. I'm gonna be honest. I hate Buffalo because it's so cold. I hate I hate snow, right? I do. I just hate cold. I hate snow, but I'm here, right? I'm stuck, right? Okay, I feel stuck, at least for now. I would prefer to be in California, but it's not the perfect timing, right? It's just not. I want to go. I love California. It's not the perfect timing. And as much as if I was the person that I was probably 10 years ago, I would get up and leave. But I'm learning. My children asked me to stay. I still don't understand why they asked me to stay here, but we're tired of moving. We love it here. But I hate it here because it's cold in so many ways. It's cold here so many ways. And I'm not saying that there's not support, but you don't know if they're supporting you because they feel like, oh, I feel sorry for you, or they're supporting you and not at all because you crazy as all bed bugs. I'm all those things. I am crazy as ever, but I'm supportive. I feel like I have to be because there's no hate, like not an ounce of haterism in me. Not an ounce. I mean, I could sit beside him, and that was the same thing true with that cousin of mine who kind of ran for me for like ran. I remember shortly after he got, people were, kids started it, and karma is something because it'll come back around. A girl he liked didn't like him, and he hit her on her butt, and she got a whole bunch of people to beat him up. And I remember saying, I would never violate you. Because sometimes people will run from you because they think that you're the bad seed and you really aren't. At least I think. And there's things that me as a person, I need to improve. But I think that now I just want to focus on my career. It's like I've disconnected myself from a lot of things because I want to focus on my career. I've put people so first in my life. And that's a lonely feeling when you're the only one putting other people first. And then it goes back to everything that my uncle taught me and my mentor is drilling in my head. Normal people will never ever put you before themselves. No matter what. And that's it's your safety net. Well, if I put them before me, they will like me. If I jump when they call me, they will like me. And that's not the truth. As a matter of fact, they will despise you in another way. And then it will be another level of disappointment. So you have to put you first. You have to take care of your business. You have to take care of what is important to you. And that's whether it's your family, that's your children, grandma, best friend, besties. You have to put you first. You have to. And it is one of the hardest lessons that I am learning in my blog, in my broke, lonely, angry, and horny, is put Tamara first. Focus on your books. I focus on my clients probably 99%, meaning I will stay up till 5 o'clock to make sure your life is right. Not your life, but your books are right. But when it comes to sharing my stuff, I don't know if I get the first priority. And that's fine. I mean, that's just life. Because again, it goes back to that lesson. You have to support yourself first. It's like the oxygen mask theory. You have to put that mask on first. Nobody else is going to put that mask on you. They're not going to be like, girl, save yourself. We all dying. Let me help Tamara. It doesn't work that way. You have to save yourself first. And you have to know when to disconnect and be the one that runs first. So I'm not trying to discuss because I'm not a discusser anymore. I don't want to discuss why you don't like me because you didn't have that discussion with me prior to that. So guys, this is a lesson that I'm learning and I'm glad that I'm dealing with this portion of lonely because we don't deal with it. I don't deal with it. And so today it was important that I dealt with it and it's painful. Have you ever just dealt with something and it's like you're purging? Yeah. And so I just decided to do it on a radio show. So guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to me today and coming and being a part of Broke, Lonely, Angry, and Horny podcast. I hope that out of my lessons. So that's the purpose of me doing this podcast. So someone asks, why are you doing it? I want someone to learn from my mistakes. I want someone not to be so far gone that they're broke. And I'm talking financially, emotionally, mentally, that you're so broke that you're beyond repair. That I want people to deal with their lonely, because being honest, if you don't face your lonely, if you don't accept it, you can blame it on your friends, you can blame it on, well, nobody likes me. But if you don't deal with your loneliness and some of the issues that come along with loneliness, what do I need to change about myself? If you don't deal with your anger, I am a person who holds in my anger more than people know. Like, I could be definitely I have been so angry at people that it hurts my whole entire body. I have been so angry with people that I take my pride and put it to the side, and it's time to stop being so angry. And that's why people are dying of heart attacks and all these things, because they're so angry. They haven't confronted their anger. They haven't confronted their issues. They keep burying it and burying it. You know what? I'm mad at him, but I forgive him. But I'm going to just say it the way it is. Fuck that. Why are we burying our anger and people still living their lives and looking good, and your hair falling out, your teeth falling out, your toenails falling off, you gaining weight? I mean, and I'm telling you my story. I don't know about nobody else. I'm just saying, deal with your anger. And lastly, dealing with, what are you horny for? Are you horny for success? Are you horny for sex? And if those are the things that you want, then go get it. And I'm telling you what I'm telling myself. We are not dealing with our blah. You know what I'm saying? We're not dealing with our blah. We're only dealing with what we want to deal with, because it's too painful. And if anything, if I can help you deal with those things and confront them, you may not like what I'm saying, may not even understand, but it may hit a point that I need to fix myself. I need to heal. And this is what this podcast is about. It's about connecting and healing. And even if I'm only talking to myself, that's fine, because at least I get to heal. Guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to Blog Diaries. I also want you to take out the time to purchase my books. And they will be also on Kindle Unlimited this time. I have never did this before. My books are usually everywhere, but I'm trying a different way of marketing my books. So my books will be on Kindle Unlimited for 3 months. And so the purpose of it being on Kindle Unlimited is because I want to see if people will download it from there. You can, the books that I'm going to have available is Cash and Money and Blog Diaries, Broke, Lonely, Angry, and Horny. Cash and Money is the second part to Love Has No Waist Size. Cash and Money opens up with the story of 2 young men and a father who have slept with Onika Sin, and she is dividing and conquering in her own way to get one person. But when it goes bad, and the father discovers that one of his sons have slept with his wife, all hell will break loose. I will say that. So guys, please, please, please go and pre-order your copy. If you cannot pre-order it, go and purchase your copy of Blog Diaries and Cash and Money. Also, guys, Our Curls Inc. is a nonprofit organization that provides free wigs, makeovers, as well as support services to women of color battling cancer. So guys, we need a favor, and it's a big favor. We need you to support the Ribbon Ball, which will be on April 27th at Classic V's in Buffalo, New York. If you cannot attend, please purchase or sponsor a ticket, or pick up a sponsorship package. Maybe sponsor so that you want to brand your business or services that you are offering. Our Curls Inc. is, again, a nonprofit organization that provides free wigs and makeovers and support services to women of color battling cancers. And not just one cancer, but all cancers. You can reach us at www.ourcurlsinc.org or LeapPad, where you can purchase your tickets. So guys, go out and purchase a ticket for the Ribbon Ball. Lastly, guys, I have Friday Music Height, and Mr. YBR is going to be my featured artist. I have featured Young MC, Method Man, Little Kim, as well as Remy Ma on my blog. If you are a musician, rapper, producer, and would like to be featured on Friday Music Hype, please inbox me or email me at tamlovestowrite.com. Guys, it gives you an opportunity. It's free exposure. It's my way of giving back to those who are creative. Guys, please, please, please follow these certain authors who have books out: Bonita Whitlock, Regina Hennigan, Latoya Murchison, Deborah Watkins, Shannon Spruill. It's a host of authors. Imani Wisdom, Keisha Green. These amazing authors. Amber White Allen, who has an anthology out with a group of authors. Guys, there are so many authors that are indie, and the one thing that what I've noticed is that we are not supporting our indie authors. Guys, keep Kareem Williams. Guys, get out and support your local authors. This is how we eat. This is how we survive. And nothing hurts our heart more when you don't leave a review. Mercedes Wilson with Hope. There is a person that I mentioned that has every person that I've mentioned as an author has put their heart and soul into their books. And guys, it's just so important that you just start supporting your local authors. Librarians, start putting local authors' books into your library shelves. So this is how I feel about reading, and then I'm going to get out of here, is that books, there should be a book that appeals to everyone, from urban fiction to the inspirational moment. And just because that person is trying to survive, that person didn't write a book because, well, let me just speak for myself. I wrote a book because I love writing and I love reading. But I wanted people to read what goes on in my heart and head through fictional characters. That I take pain and I turn it into beautiful masterpieces. That there's always, sometimes, a happy ending. Sometimes a happy ending. And that my stories are geared towards plus-size women as well as those who are the underdog. I know all about underdog. It is so easy for me to write about an underdog. Literally, I cannot tell you about a winner. I can't. I don't know nothing about that. I have no clue what that is. I've seen it, but I don't know how that is. I have always been the underdog. I don't think there's ever been a moment where I've been on top. So I can only write from what I know, and I know about the underdog. Like, literally. So, guys, let's support. Seriously, whether it's a musician, whether it's an author, these independent authors and musicians and film directors are people who are going on a prayer and a wing and are working their asses off. We are working our asses off because this is all we have. For some of us. This is not a hobby. This is a livelihood. And the support is and that's even down to nonprofit organizations, guys. That's another part of why I disconnect from people, because you have all these worthy causes, and then people will say, well, there's nothing for us. Yes, there is. You just didn't go and support it. Because Terry McMillan is not going to write your book. The book or the story you need to read. But that local author may have hit the points that you need, but you missed out on it because you won't even purchase the book. You won't even go and download it on Kindle Unlimited, which is free. Well, technically it's free, but it's $9.99 a month or $99 a year. But the point is that you guys have not utilized the services that are available right in your own community. And that's important. I definitely love my big-time mainstream authors. They are mainstream because they are amazing. But if we don't give a local author or a local musician or a television personality or whoever it is, or independent filmmaker the opportunity, we are taking away from them. So guys, let's support. Also, lastly, you can follow me at www.tamlovestowrite.com. You can follow me on Twitter at tamlovestowrite, as well as Facebook, Tam Loves to Write, and Instagram, Tam Loves to Write 39. I rarely Snapchat, but I am on Snapchat. Tam Loves to Write is my name. Guys, and Medium. Follow me on Medium. I'm always blogging on Medium as well, which is a blogging outlet. And I'll be doing some other things because, like I told you, disappointment is how, determination is how I drive away disappointment. I will not let that kill me. And that's the message that I have for you today. Stop letting disappointment and people hurting you and people use it as your determination. Use it as fuel. That hurt your feelings, keep it pushing. Guys, let's get better. So I want to thank you for listening again and have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.